Right, so I just got to check out the quality first by going onto a different account to check this account, just to see what the account is. So I might not be able to hear me in a minute, but let's just see. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. And again, fuck off.
Guys, okay.
Oh my god, I'm live.
Oh my god, I'm live.
Right, so we can hear myself fine.
Oh my god, I'm live. Right, so we can hear myself fine. Oh my god, I'm live. Right, so we can hear myself fine.
I bet. You shut up. Right, so, alright. Oh, right, okay, cool. So, a bit of background, yeah? So, you might know Fuzi. Fuzi is an OG in the game, right? He's been in the game, the social media game, for a long time. Like, he was back in Vine days. You know what I'm saying? But literally, I'm about 100%, 100%. So obviously, Fuzi was an OG back in the day, like really popular. Do you know what I mean? Done really well for himself. And then I don't know, like apparently, like a load of things come in with like mental health and stuff like that. So obviously, I'm not gonna clown on him too much because obviously it's mental health. Do you know what I mean? But then again, I suppose in certain situations, you like. You know, you whether you make a situation worse or not, do you know what I mean? You're kind of in control of the Bruv, there's a song, I've been told about a song, there's a song, apparently he's crying on the beat. He's just there crying, wallahi, and all this. So I'm going to take a little adventure and we're going to have a little look. So first I'm going to react to his first one, this madness.
Like I said before, Fuzi wanted us to hear this poem, so I'm going to play that.
And I'm going to say, hold on, whoa, where's the sound? Oh, there's no sound down here. Right, I got it, no worries. Why are you on mute? Shut up. Right.
One here. All right, and you know
that I'm echoing what everyone else has been saying, right? So obviously King Batch, also another big hitter back in the day. He's not done a lot for a while. I think he was on Wildin' Out. He may have been on Wildin' Out. But other than that, like he's not really been about. You know what I'm saying? To get him, I quote other people. This is not what I'm saying, but I agree with it. It just goes to show King Batch would do anything for the bag.
I mean, pay your final respects while the poem is going. Feel free to. Here we go.
Hold on. I never clocked that before. I've never clocked that. So is that him like coming back to life? Watch in a minute. The coffin moves. Is that like, you know, his first bit of coming back to life for the artistic piece? Is that what it is? Let's see. I just want to say, yeah, this is just my personal views on this. Yeah, I think that half of this song was done by a ghostwriter, because the first few lyrics, yeah, like if you like worked on them a little bit, yeah, I think they could be done quite well. Do you know what I mean? So obviously he didn't come out of them, but then I feel like at this point, this is where the ghostwriter ducked out, and then Fuzi jumped in. Listen. I understand, yeah, as someone who makes music myself, yeah, I understand, you know, you can twist words. I think Eminem done like a little workshop on it. It was like orange. And it's like, apparently nothing rhymes with orange or whatever, but you can like twist words to kind of make them rhyme, innit? Like you make them kind of fit your thing, right? Canteen is nothing. Let's just keep it real here. Canteen, yeah? Canteen. Okay, Fuzi. King Batch is there encouraging this. This is shame on you, Batch. Shame on you, Andrew Bachelor. So right there, why am I listening to it? Purely to clown on you, my brother. Right, so this is going to be strongly leading on to the next song, right? I think it's BBL Rage. I think it might be BBL Rage, right? Now, just give me a second to digest this for a second, right? So hold on a sec, right? So anyone who followed Fousey would know that he had this whole thing with Drake. He was dick riding Drake on next levels. He was riding around streets of America. I can't remember specifically. He was riding around America calling out Drake, following him to hotels and everything like that, yeah? You're a fan, you're a fan, you're a fan. Is that not a Kendrick Lamar beef? A bar? Pretty sure that's a Kendrick Lamar bar. Hold on. BBL Rage. Now, why is this sounding so familiar? Let's take a little look. BBL. Let's see what types in. Oh, BBL Drizzy. Is this a, I don't know what BBL Drizzy is, but I'm assuming it's a shot at Drake by. Is it? Maybe someone can tell me in the chat. Is BBL Drizzy a shot at Drake? Yeah, Drake diss track. There we go. Right, there you go. It's a Drake diss track. But Fousey's there like, you know, dick riding Drake, but he's dropping Kendrick Lamar bars. So I want to tell me how this makes any sense. Anyway, we are going to react to BBL Rage. BBL Rage. Injections in your chin. Oh, is that basically trying to say that he gets Botox? Boss. So obviously we're going to touch on the obvious here, right? Sending Kai Cenat. And obviously he tried to work with Kai Cenat before, so like Kai Cenat was like, nah, that's not going to happen. So obviously he broke off working with him. So obviously he's coming across bitter here, yeah. But then again, yeah, let's look at this, yeah. Let's deep this for a second. If you're sending for one of the biggest streamers, yeah, you're just sending for them, yeah. Even if they don't send back and they just react to it, even if they're just reacting to it, you are still like they are still going to be paying attention, because the people that don't know a Fousey but watch Kai, because you can see that how successful Kai is. Like, a lot of people watch him. A lot more people watch him than they do Fousey, yeah? So if all these people are watching, yeah, and they go, oh, Kai reacting to him getting dissed. Like, all the Kai stands are going to be like, what? And then, obviously, that's going to cause traffic to go over to Fousey's channel. Which, it makes sense. It literally makes sense, yeah? I get it. This is what you're producing. This is what your years of experience and fame has got you. You are now at this point. Interesting. Very interesting. With like someone just walking by, looking up, going, "Who the fuck is he? And what is his problem?" Just some random guy on top of a building, like BBL Rage, BBL Rage. You see motherfuckers walk past, like, "The fuck is that? Ain't that your uncle?" Oh man, Fousey. You know, it's art, isn't it? It's, I guess, how you perceive it, how you look at it, how you digest it. I'm not a fan, but we're going to move on from Fousey now. We are going to move on, and we are going to go to quite cool actually, and it always brings to light how I know that I'm never gonna die in a cage. In a cave, I'm not gonna be in one. Just started there. I'm not gonna be in one. Is this a date?
Viewer discretion is advised. On October 9, 2004, the crisp air of the Colorado evening bit at the skin of Ryan Goshiju, Franz Hankins, and Josie Goodloe
What
as they made
names?
their way toward the entrance of Narrow's cave. The cave loomed before them, a dark void that seemed to breathe with stillness. For Ryan, the leader of the group and an experienced spelunker, this was just another thrilling challenge. For Josie, the novice, it was both terrifying and exhilarating, a step into the unknown. Franz, at 35 years old and physically sturdy, had enough experience to feel confident but not complacent. They joked lightly as they strapped on their helmets and adjusted their headlamps.
But little did they
The
know.
world changed. The outside sounds of rustling leaves and distant wildlife were replaced by the muffled echoes of their movements. Each step was deliberate, the uneven rock beneath their boots demanding careful attention. The walls seemed to press closer as they descended deeper into the earth. By the time they reached the top of Spring Canyon, the narrow passages gave the impression that the cave was alive, breathing and watching. The crawlway ahead was tight, barely wide enough for a person to squeeze through on their stomach.
No!
It
No!
went smooth and practiced.
No! You're never gonna get a clip of me in a narrow space like that. Like, bruh, you can get stuck in a lot of places and they can get you out, right? You know when they can't really get you out a cave? They'll start chipping away at the cave. Nah, but that. Nah.
Franz followed, grunting slightly as his larger frame scraped against the rocks. Josie lingered at the back, her hands trembling slightly as she prepared
Trembling.
to crawl into the
Man said
constricted
trembling.
passage. As Franz reached forward, he felt the rough walls press against his shoulders and chest. He pressed further, his fingers brushing against a loose rock jutting from the side of the passage. He noticed the loose stone protruding slightly from the side. Instinctively, he reached out to steady himself and pulled on the rock for leverage. It was a fatal mistake. The rock resisted for a moment before giving way with a low, ominous rumble.
No.
Suddenly, the ceiling above him groaned. Before he could react, massive boulders dislodged and came crashing down. The impact was deafening, reverberating through the confined space like a thunderclap. Dust and debris exploded around him, blinding him and choking the air. The boulder slammed into his upper body, pinning his head and left arm against the wall with brutal force. Franz let out a guttural scream as the weight of the boulder lifted his lower body off the ground, contorting him into a horrifying position. Dirt and small stones cascaded over him, partially burying his face. He gasped for air, his chest heaving against the unyielding rock. Behind him, Josie froze in terror, her wide eyes darting between Franz and the falling debris. She screamed, her voice high-pitched and trembling. Ryan, now on the other side of the crawlway, whipped around at the sound. His stomach
Thank you for
dropped
the
as he
subs,
saw
Easy.
Franz wedged in the passage, his head barely visible beneath the cascade of rubble. He called out his name, and Franz groaned in response, his voice muffled by the dirt. Josie scrambled forward, her hands trembling as she tried to clear the debris from
So what are y'all doing? Are you freeing my man? Or are you getting the fuck out of there? Right, let's deep this for a second, yeah? Because if you think about it, if you start pulling rocks away, more rocks are going to fall. Now, you know, it could cause that rock to be even, like, fall even more. There also could be some rocks around here, around this area, right? Because my man's head is here, yeah? So there could be some rocks around this area protecting my man. And if one of them rocks slip, that's his head crushed. So are we getting in? Are we getting out? What are we doing?
around. Ryan quickly assessed the situation, his mind racing. Franz was alive, but in serious trouble. The boulder had wedged his head and arm tightly against the wall, and the debris around was suffocating him. They needed to get help. Ryan turned and began the grueling crawl through another route in the cave. He knew the cave really well and had memorized all its exit points. Every inch felt like a mile, his arms and legs screaming in protest as he dragged himself through the tight passages. The sharp rocks scraped against his elbows and knees, but he barely noticed the pain. His mind was fixed on one goal, reaching the surface. When Ryan finally emerged from the cave,
It's literally all I'd be thinking. Let me get the f*** out of here.
for breath, he pulled out his phone and dialed Mike Frazier, a seasoned cave rescuer. He quickly explained the situation, describing Franz's position and the severity of the collapse. Mike didn't hesitate and was on his way immediately. Grabbing his gear and a hydraulic jack, he called for additional help while driving to the cave. He knew the risks all too well. Time was against them, and every moment counted. When Mike arrived at the parking area, Ryan was waiting, his face pale and drawn. Mike and Ryan reached the crawlway where Franz was trapped. The sight was grim. Franz's face was pale and streaked with dirt. Pinned beneath the crushing weight of the boulder, Franz's body was failing him. His breathing grew shallow, each gasp a desperate fight against the unrelenting pressure on his chest.
Like, my life is just flashing before my eyes at that point. I'm like, it's over, you know what I mean?
Air began to tremble with fatigue. Blood rushed to his head, leaving him lightheaded and dizzy.
Because surely the more that you fuss and everything like that, the tighter that's going to get.
Left. He tried to move, to shift even an inch, but the unyielding rock held him in place, mocking his efforts. His voice, once strong and commanding, was now barely a whisper as he called out for help. Darkness tugged at the edges of his vision, and for a moment he felt the terrifying pull of unconsciousness. Jossie was still by his side, her hands raw and bleeding from her futile attempts to free him. Mike told them all to stay calm, with his voice steady. He assessed the situation quickly, his experienced eyes scanning the unstable ceiling and the boulder pinning Franz. Mike began digging with his hands, pulling away the dirt and debris from around Franz's head. The passage was so tight that he had to drag the debris back through the crawl to a small chamber 15 feet away. Each trip was exhausting, but he worked tirelessly, his muscles burning with effort. After several...
I would just never find myself in that situation. It literally makes no sense. I would never be in a cave. And what do you mean that he saw it moving, yeah, and instinctively he grabbed it? What? What? He saw it move and he grabbed it? That makes absolute no fucking sense. Oh, that looks like a fall on me. Let me grab it. I'm gonna grab it. Just put it down. It just makes no sense. I don't get it.
Several trips, Mike uncovered Franz's left hand, bruised and limp. He kept digging, eventually exposing Franz's helmet, which was crushed against the wall. The sides of the helmet were buckling under the pressure of the boulder. With great care, Mike unbuckled the
Nah, every time that
removed the helmet,
I
allowing
break
Franz
it.
to breathe more
I'd absolutely
easily.
break it.
Ryan joined in, grabbing Franz's legs and pulling. Franz screamed in agony, his voice echoing through the crawlway, but his upper body remained pinned. The ceiling groaned ominously, sending chills down their spines. They knew they were running out of time. By 11 p.m., additional rescuers arrived, their faces grim but determined. They brought jacks, 2x4s, and other shoring materials. The team worked quickly, bracing the unstable ceiling and positioning the jack under the boulder. Mike extended the jack slowly, the creaking sound.
Hey, beautiful. I see you. Your likes. I like you.
Filling the confined space.
Sorry.
Inch by inch, the boulder lifted.
Babe, I'm working.
Ryan and another rescuer grabbed Franz's legs and pulled with all their strength. With a sickening pop, Franz's upper body came free.
Yes!
As Franz was
Franz is
dragged
free!
away, the passage collapsed again, burying the jack and
Yo!
filling the crawlway with debris.
What about these man?
The rescuers...
What happened to Mike? Yo, whoa. What happened to Mike? Mike went in and saved him. What did Mike... look, is Mike now stuck? Is Mike now stuck in this... you can't see my mouse. Right. I'm pointing, by the way. I am pointing. Pointing at that boulder. So, I'm glad his name's there, because then I can just do it by name. What about Mike? How's Mike going to get out? Oh, mate, the plot thickens. Plot thickens, man.
stared at the rubble in stunned silence. They had escaped disaster by mere seconds. Freed from the boulder, Franz was in shock and was drifting into an unconscious state. His arm was swollen and discolored, hanging limp at his side. The rescuers worked quickly, wrapping him in a thermal blanket and placing his arm in a makeshift sling. After several minutes, Franz's color began to return, and he started to regain feeling in his fingers. The group moved carefully, belaying Franz down the breakdown climbs and Spring Canyon.
Just shimmying him out of there, you know.
The tight passages forcing them to remove Franz's sling so he could maneuver through. Just after midnight, they met a team of rescuers with a sked litter. Franz, too weak to continue on his own, was strapped into the litter. The rescuers dragged and carried him through the remaining crawls, their bodies pushed to the limit. Finally, they reached walking passage. Franz, determined to walk the last stretch, climbed out of the litter.
Bro's like,
His legs
I
wobbled
got this.
beneath him, but he pressed on, his
I've
companions
got
supporting
this.
him. At 2 a.m., they emerged from the cave. Franz's wife was waiting, tears streaming down her face as she embraced him. He was alive and had merely escaped death. While the first victim was lucky enough to survive, in the next story the odds were totally against this seasoned spelunker.
Oh,
July
man.
13th, 2003.
Scuba diving,
was
these
a
ones,
hot and
don't like
humid
these
morning in
ones.
Georgia, the kind of day where the thick air clings to your skin. Bruce Brewer, 33, was gearing up for another routine trip into Climax Cave. Having ventured into its depths more than 100 times, Bruce was a master of its twists and turns. He had spent years exploring the cave's passages, often leading novice groups eager to experience the underground wonders. That Saturday morning, Bruce was leading a group of 7 researchers from a nearby ecological center, all eager to learn about the cave's unique environment and record the haunting calls of the large bat colony that called it home. As the group gathered near the cave's entrance at 11 a.m., Bruce's demeanor was calm and confident. He reassured the group, most of whom were first-timers, explaining the challenges they would face and the precautions they needed to take. With their helmets secured and headlamps glowing, they followed him into the cave. Climax Cave was a sprawling maze, known for its narrow passages.
Climax KJ? Cave. Huh? Climax. Wonder how it got that name. You know, you got a load of horny teenagers going in there, just clapping cheeks. In all parts of that cave, just clapping. So I call Climax. There you go. A little bit of history for you guys.
And sprawling chambers. For caving enthusiasts, it was both a wonderland and a test of endurance. Bruce led the way with practiced ease, pointing out interesting formations, guiding the group through tight squeezes, and making sure everyone was accounted for. The initial hours were filled with awe and excitement as the group navigated the twists and turns. For the novices, the experience was exhilarating, a chance to step into a world few had ever seen. As they ventured deeper, the passages became narrower. Despite the physical demands of crawling and climbing through the cave's many obstacles, the group's spirits remained high. Bruce's stories...
I've got to ask you, because it does confuse me. Like, who looks at a space here that the body clearly can't fit through and goes, I want to try and get in there? Now, in all the scary cave stories that the people have come across and everything like that, like, who gets that for? Like, who stands there and goes, do you know what, that looks like too small, I can't even get through it. I'ma go through it. Do you know what I mean? It makes no sense. I don't understand how people's heads work like that.
of past explorations and his deep knowledge of the cave kept them engaged. By early evening, the group reached Razor Hall, one of the cave's most iconic chambers. The room was named for its unique geological feature, a jagged, razor-thin rock formation suspended above a pool of dark, still water. The pool itself was deep and cold, with its edges marked by a narrow, slippery ledge. Razor Hall was a place that commanded respect. Its stark...
What are we betting, guys? Do you reckon someone's going to get too close to the edge and fall in? You know, I think they emphasise the slippy side there. I got a feeling they're going to fall.
beauty masked
Just
the
saying.
dangers it held. On the far side of the pool, a natural rock partition separated Razor Hall from the adjacent turnage room, the next stop on their planned route.
So they've got to get over
The
there.
group would have two options to cross into the turnage room. They could either crawl along the narrow ledge at the pool's edge, or swim under the partition through a submerged passage. But today,
over the ledge.
the cave presented a new
Over the
challenge.
ledge. Do you know what else I'm not doing? Next to going through tight holes that I can't get through. You know what I'm not doing? Going underwater, yeah? You know, having to go through a passage underwater and have to hold my breath to get to the other side. You know why I'm not doing that? A couple of reasons. We're just breaking down for you, right? So, the reasons are, first of all, no. Just no. There's no way I'm going underwater to get to the other side. My safety is not through water, because then if I ever need to get back, my safety is through water. I'm not doing that. You know, it's not my thing. The other thing as well is that you get caught under there. You get snagged on a rock or something like that, your bag or whatever. Something could get caught and you're stuck. You're drowning. Something that looked exciting before, right, has just killed you.
Heavy rains in the days leading up to the trip had caused the water level in the pool to rise significantly. As Bruce examined the scene, He noted that the ledge was barely above the waterline, and there was no visible airspace beneath the partition. His expression grew serious as he turned to address the group. He admitted that this water level is higher than he has ever seen. He
Go
explained
back.
to them that he will be assessing
Go
it
back.
first and then decide what to
Literally
do
go back.
next. The group, sensing the shift in his tone, grew quiet. Bruce instructed them to wait at the edge of the chamber while he investigated. With that, Bruce stepped into the icy pool, the frigid water soaking him instantly as it climbed up to his chest. He took a deep breath and submerged beneath the partition. The group watched as the ripples from his dive spread across the pool. Minutes ticked by, each one stretching longer than the last. The group waited anxiously, their unease growing with each passing second. Bruce had assured them he would return quickly, but he was nowhere to be seen. At first, the group speculated that he had surfaced in the turnage room on the other side of the partition, as he had mentioned. They called his name, their voices echoing in the chamber, but there was no response. Some of the group members began pacing nervously, their anxiety mounting as the minutes dragged on. Hoping to conserve their headlamp batteries, they turned off their lights. It was then that they noticed a faint, ghostly glow emanating from beneath the partition, a light that seemed out of place and unsettling. It flickered weakly, as though struggling to reach them, but offered no clarity about what had happened to Bruce. Desperate for answers, a few of them climbed into the pool. They gripped the rocky edge for support, their hands trembling as they reached blindly beneath the surface, feeling for any sign of Bruce. The water was shockingly cold, and their fingers found only empty space. Bruce was gone. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the group knew they had to act. Their leader, their guide, was missing, and they were deep in the heart of a dangerous cave. They decided to leave Razor Hall and make their way back to the surface to get help. Navigating the cave without Bruce was a daunting task. The passages they had navigated with his guidance now seemed foreign and treacherous. The novices relied on fragmented memories of the route, their fear and exhaustion making every step feel precarious. The oppressive darkness seemed to press in on them. As they crawled, climbed, and stumbled their way through the labyrinth, the air grew heavier with the weight of their fear. Every sound, the drip of water, the scrape of a boot against stone, seemed amplified, feeding their growing panic. By the time they reached the surface at 11:30 p.m., they were physically and emotionally spent. Once outside, the group immediately contacted local authorities, who arrived quickly but soon realized the complexity of the situation. The sheriff's deputies called in Will Summer, a seasoned cave rescuer.
Listen, if anyone's going to be fixing the problem, and anyone's going to be sorting the shit, Will Summer. Telling you man now, Will Summer's got us.
Knew Climax Cave intimately. Summer, along with two divers from the sheriff's department, re-entered the cave around 2:30 a.m., accompanied by the original group to guide them back to Razor Hall. The rescue team worked with precision, their movements deliberate as they navigated the cave's narrow passages. When they reached the pool in Razor Hall, the divers wasted no time. They entered the water, their powerful light slicing through the murky depths. After several tense minutes, they found Bruce's body submerged in 10 to 12 feet of water near the partition. Recovering the body was a delicate operation. The divers moved carefully, mindful of the risks posed by the water and the tight spaces. When they finally brought Bruce to the surface of the pool, the somber reality of the situation set in. The once confident leader was now a tragic reminder of the cave's unforgiving nature. Transporting Bruce's body to the surface proved to be an enormous challenge. By 7:30 a.m., the recovery team emerged from the cave to organize additional.
I said they weren't going to make it.
Word of the tragedy spread quickly, and volunteers from across the region arrived to assist. Over the course of the day, more than 130 rescuers gathered, including experienced caving teams, emergency personnel, and local volunteers. The recovery effort was a logistical nightmare. The narrow passages and tight constrictions of the cave made it nearly impossible to move the body. Portable air hammers and chisels were brought in to widen the most restrictive sections. A painstaking process that slowed progress but was necessary to ensure the safety of the team. The operation stretched into the night, a grueling 13-hour ordeal that tested the endurance and resolve of everyone involved. Teams worked in shifts, their determination unwavering despite the physical and emotional toll. At 4:19 a.m. on Monday morning, Bruce's body finally reached the surface. The rescuers, exhausted and heartbroken, gathered in the pre-dawn light, Their faces bore the marks of fatigue and sorrow, the weight of the tragedy heavy on their shoulders. For those who knew Bruce, the loss was devastating. He was a skilled guide, a passionate spelunker, and a trusted leader. Climax Cave, with its beauty and danger, remained as it always had, an unforgiving wilderness beneath the earth. For the caving community, the tragedy underscored the importance of caution and preparation, a lesson paid
Oof.
for with the ultimate price.
So that is where we are going to be ending things, unfortunately, as I've got a couple of things to do today. But if you've enjoyed my life, make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube. Why not? It's free. And we'll be back again soon. Deuces. Oh, that was so badly timed. Let me do that again. Deuces.